Superb.
Early start, you could say, yes. Yes.
So what we're interested to know is what is the history of our fountain, which I know you've talked about, but perhaps you'd like to tell us more.
The original fountain, well, it started life as a drinking fountain, and it was placed halfway between where the fountain is now and the bandstand.
Right.
And it came from one of the old Dartmouth families, the Seal family, who were very important in Dartmouth and MP for quite a few years. And he, for some reason, they decided it would be put to better use down in the town, and he gave it to the town as a drinking fountain. And then they decided that they would turn it into the fountain and put a piece on the bottom, the big bowl, which is hopefully you'll see later on in the year. We understand it's going to be placed as a very large flower vase over near the NEWCOMEN engine later on. So that's going to remain, and that was dedicated to the last Jubilee that we had for the Queen Victoria. And that stood here for very many years. I don't remember it as a youngster, partly because I was a bit too young, not because I wasn't here on the part. But that really came to an end, a sticky end, when the war came. Through the middle of the park, right next to the fountain, they put a concrete road to take all the tanks for the landing craft. And that really shook the whole thing to its foundations, and it never really survived much. Attempts were made by the association to get it working again, with some success, but time eventually, it saw the end of it, and it was suggested by our secretary that we ought to consider replacing it. So he got hold of various vouchers or at least books to see what was around, and came up with this particular one, which we're hopefully now going to raise the last few pounds to cover the cost of it. We're well on the way, but I'll put a plug in.
How much more money have you got to raise?
We're looking to raise altogether at just over the 10,000 we think it'll come to, and we're about 3/4 of the way there.
Well, that's really good, isn't it?
It's gone pretty well.
Yeah. And so you're very knowledgeable about the fountain and the history.
Only in playing around and getting into trouble on it, really.
You need to tell us who you are.
Right, my name's Wally Fleet, or as I tell people, if you want to be all posh, it's Walter. But my father was a Wally and my grandfather was a Wally, so I think I'm going to stay a Wally. But we've been around in Dartmouth, as far as I can find, since about 1853.
Wow.
Not me personally, but there we are. So.
And do you run the History Society?
I am a member of the History Research Group, and for my sins, I'm the chairman. But, no, hopefully everybody else mucks in on that one. And in fact, it's probably one of the older history research groups in the area, and we hold our 21st birthday later this year.
You'll have to tell us all about that. And Paul, what does it mean to you, the opening of the fountain?
I think it's absolutely wonderful. The chain I'm wearing goes back to 1859, which I think was a time when possibly the fountain came along. I'm not quite sure.
Rather splendid.
Rather splendid, yes. But I think as far as I actually represent the town, and I think the fountain provides a focus not only for the celebrations of the Dartmouthians, but for the whole of the town, and especially with its Queen's Jubilee year. I mean, this could be nothing better than to link this fountain to the celebrations, and I'm sure Wally will record that in his anecdotes. That's absolutely wonderful.
Very good timing.
Very, very precise timing, yes, not very good timing.
And of course this weekend, well, we've got quite a few things happening in Dartmouth.
The Olympic torch, isn't it, on Sunday? Yes, and we have the engine that changed the world, Thomas Newcomen. Wally knows all about that.
It's the 300th anniversary of the world's first working steam engine. I mean, he was the inventor of steam engines. There were various other things around, but they weren't in the sense of an engine part of it now. People tend to remember the steam engine in terms of the railway engine and Stephenson, but of course that wouldn't have happened without our own Dartmouthian, Thomas Newcomen. He was born just to the south end of the town here, and to say, we're not quite sure when he was born, there's no records of that, but this year celebrates, to say, the 300th anniversary of the first working engine, which went on, of course, to pump most of the mines in the deep mines in the country out and in other parts of the world. A very important person who's been sadly overlooked.
So did the Industrial Revolution really start in Dartmouth?
That's our play on this one, the man who kick-started the Industrial Revolution. Without steam, everybody else that came along, they refined the steam engine, but they didn't actually invent it.
Well, thanks very much. Good luck with the collection, and have a lovely celebration.
Lovely,
and a great Jubilee year.
Great, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Lovely.